Welcome to another episode of Let's Parley, where we are here to encourage you to bet on yourself and pursue all that life has in store for you. I'm your host, Monty Taylor, and without further ado, let's parlay. What's going on, family? Appreciate y'all coming for another episode of Let's Parley. This is episode 14, so excited to keep this thing rolling. Only one more episode until we get halfway through the goal for the year, which is 30 episodes total. So if I said it, I'm gonna do it. And that's exactly what I plan on doing, is finishing this year strong. We are already in August, which is crazy. I don't know about y'all, but like July, it felt long, but it also flew by at the same time. I don't really feel like that's too much of a value-added statement, but it just, when it feels like, oh man, that beginning of the month felt like a while ago, but now it's gone and it feels like that kind of went by fast. So anyway, I'm just reflecting on the time that's passed and thinking about, just where I'm currently at, what's been going on in my life. And like I said, I've decided to take a bit of a shift in how I approach these episodes. I think it's been more of value to just share a little bit more about myself and also about things that I've processed in the past week and things that I feel like might be able to help you in your life and what's going on, and whether it be in fitness, whether it be in business, whether it be in relationships. However, I just feel like sharing a little bit more has seemed to be something that people have gravitated towards. So I listen and I respond to the market, but I also realize that going about these podcast episodes this way just feels more natural. So I hope that you all enjoy the ride that I'm about to take you on when it comes to my life updates. I don't think there's anything crazy, but of course, I think that there's some interesting takeaways from this past week, and just wanted to share that with you all. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was an event I went to this past weekend. It was on Saturday at 10 a.m., by the way. It's this event called Coffee and Chill, and it's in the Austin area. I am in no way affiliated with them or promoting them. However, if they decided that they wanted to sponsor your boy and sponsor this podcast, then, I'm not saying no to any of those deals. And if someone just happened to send them a message with a link to my podcast saying that they should sponsor it, I'm not going to stop those people from doing it either. So just wanted to put that out there. But I'm being a clown right now. But I went to that Coffee and Chill event, and it was quite the experience. And the reason why I share this is because it's an event where there's no alcohol served. There's a DJ, there's a bunch of cold plunges, and there's all these vendors that are selling either coffee, massages, all sorts of different products and apparel. And it's located on 6th Street, downtown in Austin. And if you're not from Austin or you've never been out here, it's at this location that's right in the middle of like a bunch of bars. And at night, when I used to come to Austin, I'd be there pretty often, right? But no longer, because I'm peaceful and holy. But it's right in the middle of that. And when you pull up, like downtown Austin, it doesn't sound like anything. It's quiet. It's 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Nobody really does things downtown 10 a.m. on a Saturday, not that I know of, at least not the people that I hang out with. So you get there and you just hear all this loud music and the streets are just empty. And you're like, yo, like this is literally the only thing happening in this city right now. So it's just a weird thing to kind of observe. And then when you go into the spot, it's like situated on the roof of a building. So you get like a nice view of downtown and just the landscape of Austin. And then there's just a lot of real loud music, and sometimes it can go from being like EDM sort of sounding. This time it was a little bit more day party, sort of Vegas vibes, from what I recall. And it was definitely different, and you see everybody like going into cold plunges, so people are in their bathing suits and such. But you would look at the situation and you would think that everyone is probably drunk or whatever, because of what the environment looks like. But it's just people who are highly caffeinated and running off the endorphins of a cold plunge. I get like it's just it's something to really, really see. But nonetheless, it's wholesome fun because I don't. You feel like you're energized because of the caffeine, and they have other caffeinated drinks as well too, so you can try different things out. And I think everybody's just kind of like awake. And I worked out beforehand with my buddies, and then went there. So I'm already feeling like pretty energized from the workout. Then there's caffeine. Then there's this good music playing. Then you jump in a cold plunge, shocks the system, and then you just kind of awake, and people network and stuff, and it's quite the interesting thing. So that was what I did this past weekend. That was my attempt at being social, and I feel like I may have shared this the last time, but I feel like I've been having to balance my mindset when it comes to being social. As an entrepreneur, and especially as someone where I'm at right now with launching a new program or recently launching a new program and wanting to launch more and wanting to continue to help more people with my services, I can get in these modes where I feel guilty for being social. And I think I may have mentioned that before, but it was just something that I did that I thought was interesting. And I don't think that happens in many other places. I feel like in Los Angeles, I don't think I've been to any of those types of events, I should say, but they may have stuff like that. But everyone who comes into town in Austin is like, oh, this is something I've never seen before. So anyway, just thought I had some really wholesome fun with friends and didn't have to involve alcohol or any other substances. It was just caffeine, I guess. I guess the caffeine was the drug, but yeah, just wanted to share that with y'all because I thought it would be cool and to put y'all on. But I really felt like this past week, just to switch gears, I have been sharing weekly devotionals with my Fit and Faith clients. And each week I go through and I think about what I feel like would help my clients based off of what I'm seeing in their check-ins and what they've shared about their experiences. And this week I sent a devotional about patience. And what I did was I usually send like a screen recorded video of me just talking through what I've shared with them and why I decided to share it. And a lot of that why is having to do with myself, but then also having to do with what I've heard from clients. And it just felt like a good thing to maybe share with you folks as well too, because I've realized that like trusting God is also an act of patience as well too, because a lot of the times, and I had a conversation with my dad about this too, and we both were kind of talking about how you want to get control over your situations when they're not happening when you want them to happen. And I think that's the innate desire, is for like the ego to come alive and feel like, oh man, I made this happen and I made it happen when I wanted to and when I said so. And that can be a very dangerous territory to operate in, because then you start becoming or feeling like you're your own God. And to me, I just thought this past week that, man, like I really, got to be grateful for everything that I have, and just going through that list of like having a roof over my head, having, the resources to feed myself, having friends and family that love me and support me. And, all of these things that I would normally think about when I'm in a state of gratitude, I want to go back there when I'm feeling impatient, because I think what I've experienced is I feel like if things aren't happening when I want them to, I start to lose a lot of that gratitude, and I start to get towards a space of like shame, blame, and a lot of fear and doubt, and that can fester for a little bit. especially as someone who, runs a business, and a lot of it's not necessarily like predictable, right? It can be, and it is to an extent, but as far as the timing and when you want certain things to happen and all of that, it feels like each month has been a test of patience, and God always comes through. And that's the beautiful part about like the trusting aspect is like, all right, if I've been fine up until this point, then what's going to be different this month? Like I should be all right. We're working towards something, and things are going the way that they should. But a lot of the times, it feels like in the moment you have an overflow of thoughts that aren't really you saying it. It's something else trying to tell you that something's wrong. Like start fearing. Stop trusting God. Like you need to do something. This needs to be in your control. And I think there is like a dark part of your ego that's saying a lot of that stuff to you in those moments. And it's just one of those things that I feel like is worth sharing with you, because I think everybody has their own version of that, and it could be around big decisions when it comes to like, whether you're going to move or not, or stay in the same city, or whether you're going to, invest into something, whether you're going to buy, something for yourself, and, like have a vacation or something. There's all these like, back and forths that may happen in your mind. And a lot of the times, I just think that if you just decide and trust God in that process, whatever you decided, you're going to learn from it anyway. And it's not like you're going to go into it and, make something happen that wasn't destined for you. Like if you made the decision and you did it, you were meant to make that decision and either reap the rewards of that decision or learn from it. But either way, if it doesn't come out as expected, that's not a failure. Like you didn't do wrong. This is just the process of learning. This is life. And I feel like all of that is really centered around patience. Like you have to be patient throughout that whole process to really trust God, and to also know that whatever you've been gifted with is enough for you to do what you said you wanted to do, right? And I think there's a lot of that's been going on for me recently, and I just thought that would be helpful to share for people who may be feeling like, oh, like I want something to happen a lot sooner, or whatever it is that you feel like you're trying to take control over your life on. I'm just going to encourage you, for those who are of faith, is to just put your trust in God's timing. And, it's always going to be better when God lays it out for you as opposed to you trying to plan it. And that's my 2 cents on that. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm also just appreciating the fact that, like, because I'm living on my own and I'm single, like, I get to do these things and continue to build myself. And I'm just appreciating that time. Like that was a part of the time that I spent in gratitude, was because, I think I've mentioned in the past, like, okay, like desiring relationship, desiring, love or romance or whatever it is, and a family and all that. But then I like kind of took a step back this week, and I was like, I think I should really value this season of being on my own and not having to feel any additional pressure to be something or be responsible for something, because right now I do get to control a lot of my destiny, and that's a beautiful part of life. And yeah, I shouldn't be trying to rush out of that, and I don't feel like I have been, but I think sometimes in my mind I feel like I need to be moving quicker towards those things, especially now that I've turned 30. And the crazy part is I remember when I was in my like mid to late 20s, I would have friends who were in their 30s and saying the things that I'm saying now. And it's just a full circle moment, because I'd say the same thing to them, like, yo, bro, like, what do you mean? Your life is great. Like, I feel like you're just continuing to ascend at this point in your life. And this would be the advice that I'd give them. I'd be telling them like, yo, you don't need to be thinking about like, you don't need to be so pressed and focused on settling down and all that. And now it feels like I need to hear that version of myself tell me that now, and I think I had that happen over the past week, and it just felt good. It felt good to know that I appreciate this time of having a lot of control over my own destiny as far as what I do each day. And yeah, I think for anybody out there who's maybe feeling something similar, like, I think that's something you should also appreciate, because there's people who, when they finally get some time to themselves because they have a family and are married and all that, they really relish it. They're like, oh man, it feels like I can breathe. I'm good. And yeah, I just don't think that that should be taken for granted. So yeah, something that I also felt compelled to share with you all as well too, is just appreciating that time in singleness. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's really all I wanted to share at the moment. I do have some updates and some news that I wanted to share as well too, just when it comes to what I have in the works and what I'm currently planning. Um, there's a lot of interest that I've seen in building a faith-based fitness community, and when I recently launched this program, there was one post that I dropped that got a lot of traffic on Instagram and engagement, more than the others. I won't say a lot, but what I noticed was that a lot of people were interested in a community. They were interested in a faith-based community, and I think I had always thought about that being a part of my Fit and Faith program, is having a community for my clients, and building upon that. But I've also realized that I think it's time for me to also explore like a larger community to provide a space for people to connect who are of faith and want to work on their fitness. For example, I mean, I've just heard from a lot of people that when they go into the gym environment, especially being of faith and following Christ, following Jesus, they're like, man, this place seems like a hard place to do it because of the culture, like the fact that you walk into a gym and the type of music that might be playing, what people are wearing, just the culture. And a lot of this is probably influenced by social media as well too, is people, unfortunately, for clicks and engagement and, for laughs or whatever have you, there's been like so many stigmas about the gym that have come from social media. I personally feel, I mean, you may feel different, but I feel like there's been a lot of influence from social media on what people are to expect in a gym. And I just don't remember, I think I remember feeling a little bit of that when I first started working out consistently. But I think for myself, and here's my plug on why I think you should wake up early and go to the gym as early as you possibly can, right before work. The reason why I did that is because that's when the gym is emptiest, and that's also a period where like, there's these reels where it talks about like the type of people that go to the gym at certain times. And I think for the early morning risers, a lot of people make fun of them and say, oh, these are the people who are super productive and think they're better than everybody or whatever have you. I'm just going to say that that window of time for working out seems to be pretty ideal for, just having the most peaceful experience when you think about like less crowded, you can get to your machines quicker, you can use them for longer. That's just what I felt, and that's what my experience has been. So I didn't necessarily go into the gym and get that experience, because I guess I never went to the gym when it was super crowded, because I personally don't like being in the gym, and I don't even think I think of what people, obviously you're aware of people around you and what they may be looking at, or if they're looking at you. But I feel like there's a lot of people who go into the gym currently, especially newcomers, and they either don't go to the gym because they're so worried about what other people may think of them, um, or they go to the gym and they're like just super anxious about using a piece of equipment or doing something wrong. And I definitely get that concern. But I also do feel like social media has had its impact on our experience with that. So I circle back to say that the Fit and Faith community seems to be something that could help people, normalize the fact that there's other gym goers who are of Christ and who don't necessarily align with any of the negative aspects of gym culture, and can meet people who are just of like-mindedness, and maybe they could, work out, become workout buddies or whatever have you. And that's something that could come down the line with such a community. But the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because I noticed that there was a lot of demand for that. And I realized that I think it makes sense for me to step into that demand and provide something that could possibly be a just a very useful community and platform for people to use. So with all that being said, I'm launching a Fit and Faith community. And the community will essentially be tied to the Fit and Faith program. So my clients will also be a part of the community, but they'll sort of be within their own like subgroup within that community. But I also want other people to be a part, because I know that not everyone can afford coaching and not everyone is necessarily looking for a coach, but maybe they just need that small little step to talk to other people who are of faith, who go to the gym, and just normalize it within the Christian community in general. And I think the biggest part of this is that, like, God wants us to take care of our temples. God wants us to take care of our bodies. It's not as if we haven't been blessed with these bodies for a reason. So to sit and live life and never consider your health or never consider optimizing yourself so that you can perform the best that you possibly can, it's almost as if you've been given a gift from God and you've said, I decide not to manage this. I decide that this will come second, that this will come at some later priority to work, to family, to pleasing the people within my circle. That's going to come second. I know that I've been blessed with these things. And some people just don't even view it that way. And I think that's what I want to work on is viewing it in more of a way where you realize you've been blessed. Take care of the thing that you've been blessed with. It's similar when it comes to your finances, right? Like, I personally believe that, God provides me with my resources in order to sustain myself. And I want to manage those resources accordingly. And there's so much in the Bible about being a faithful steward, right? A faithful manager of the things that you've been blessed with. And that's what I'm hoping the Fit and Faith community can continue to encourage, is really making a movement towards believers taking care of their health and continuing to thrive. Because in order to fulfill God's mission for our life, we got to be able to live and breathe and function properly in order to do it. So that's really my biggest call out of this community. And that's what I felt was pulling me towards building the Fit and Faith program, as far as my one-on-one coaching clients. But I also feel like the community is another step in that direction of fulfilling that personal mission for me. So I just wanted to let you guys know that is coming up, and I'm excited to release that and share that with you all. I think that there's going to be a lot of growth and connection that can come from it. So I'm excited for it, and I am doing a lot of back-end work at the moment to put that together, whether it be the content that I'm going to share within the community, whether it be just the platform and how accessible it is and the design of it and all that sort of stuff. And I've hired some help to help me with that, which is great, but it just takes time. And just to circle it all back, it takes patience. And I've realized that I have to be patient with this process and not try to rush it to, do it whenever I think it should be done. I want to do it when it's good and ready. And when I get that thumbs up from God, like, yep, go ahead, make it happen, put it out there. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you all. Stay tuned for that. And I'm excited to build a community that really creates a movement. And yeah, I think that that'll be really cool. I think that's all I'm going to have for you folks. I know I have a little bit of time left over, but I don't want to drag this along, just continuing to yap on. But I just want to say thank you all for continuing to listen. I feel like going about these podcasts this way has just felt so much more natural. And I've also just felt like this is probably the best way for me to connect with everybody. And this is somewhat of my own therapy. So I appreciate y'all being my therapist for a second. But at the same time, I hope you're getting something from it. As always, appreciate you tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to continue to update you on. I'm always going to share the link to filling out an application for my coaching. So feel free to click that link in the description if you are looking to work with a faith-based fitness coach one-on-one, or even if you're looking to join my community, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at tailored_fit_. Okay, so that's at TAYLORD_FIT_. I put it in the description, so you should be able to find me. But yeah, that's all I got. Hope you've been encouraged to bet on yourself and pursue all that life has in store for you. Yeah, I'm Monty. God bless. Have a good one.